Let us see some of the networking functions in PHP. What are the basics of networking first? What is a network? A network is simply a group of two or more personal computers linked together. What type of networks exist? Many types of networks exist, but the most common types of networks are local area networks, LANs, wide area networks, WANs, and metropolitan area networks, MANs. In a LAN, computers are connected together within a local area, that is, within an office or home. In a WAN, computers are farther apart and are connected via telephone or communication lines, radio waves, or other means of connection. In a MAN, computers cover within a particular city. Then, what is DNS? DNS is Domain Name System. It translates internet domain and host names to IP addresses. DNS automatically converts the names we type in our web browser address bar to the IP addresses of web services hosting those sites. An IP address is the logical address of a network adapter. The IP address uniquely identifies computers on a network. IP addresses consist of 4 bytes, that is 32 bits. Each byte of an IP address is known as an octet. Octet can take any value between 0 and 255, but various rules exist for ensuring IP addresses are valid. There are two types of notations for notating IP address. One is IPv4, another one is IPv6. In IPv4 addressing notation, it consists of 4 bytes. These bytes are also known as octets. For readability purposes, humans typically work with IP addresses in a decimal notation that uses periods to separate each octet. Periods means here dots. For example, the IP address which is given below is usually represented in decimal notation as 10.0.0.1. Here, each octet is represented as a decimal number. Because each byte is 8 bits in length, each octet in an IP address ranges in a value from a minimum of 0 to a maximum of 255. Therefore, the full range of IP addresses is from 0.0.0.0 through 255.255.255.255. That represents a total of 4 294.967 296 possible IP addresses. In IPv6 addressing system, the addresses are 16 bytes, that is 128 bits long, rather than 4 bytes which is given in IPv4 addressing system. In order to work with networking functions, the following are the necessaries. The requirements are no external libraries are needed to build this extension. While installation, there is no additional installation needed to use these functions. They are part of PHP core. That is, PHP installation is enough. In runtime configuration, while working with these functions, the settings are affected in php.ini file. Next, coming to the networking functions which we are going to use. First one is get host by address. Second one is get host by name. Get host by name L. Next one get protocol by name. Next get protocol by number. Get service by name. Get serve by port. Next IP to long. Next long to IP. We will discuss in detail with each of one. First one is get host by address. Get the internet host name corresponding to an IP address. The signature is as follows, which will expect IP address and returns the string equivalent of the IP address. Let us demonstrate this one with a simple program. In this program, we gave an IP address as 192.168.1.210, which is going to represent the host equivalent name of the IP address. In order to run the PHP program, we use the same syntax, this program is going to give the equivalent system name of the IP address in the given network. Next one is Get host by name. Get the IP address corresponding to a given internet host address, which is the reverse of get host by address. It accepts the host name as string and returns the IP address. In this, we gave the IP host name as www.microsoft.com, which is going to give its equivalent IP address. The IP is 207.46.156.156. The next function is get host by name L. It represents a list of IP addresses corresponding to a given internet host address. The signature of this one is it returns a associative array. The demonstration for this function is given as follows. In this function, he gave the same Microsoft.com host name, which is going to print the equivalent IP addresses. So this is an associative array. It mainly consists of eight IP addresses. Each first one is indicated the key value and the IP addresses values. Next function is get proto by name. Get protocol number associated with the protocol name. That means we are going to use various protocols like TCP, IP, UDP, and etc. Here we are going to represent the protocol name in the given string as an expression, and we are going to get the protocol equivalent number as follows. In this program, we gave the protocol as TCP. Get protocol by name of TCP. It is going to get the protocol number equivalent in php.ini file. So the protocol is 6, which is given in the php.ini file. The next one is get proto by number. If we give the protocol number, then it will gives the protocol name, which is the reverse case of the previous function. Here we need not to have the demo because it is the reverse function of the previous one, get proto by name. Next one is get server by name. Get port number associated with an internet service and protocol. That means in the first, it accepts two arguments. The first one is service and the second one is protocol. It returns the port number at which that protocol is serving. The following example will demonstrate the list of services and at which port each service is accepting. In this program, we have given a list of services as HTTP, FTP, SSH, Telnet, etc. In this, for each service, for the protocol TCP, at which port that service is accepting. Now we can demonstrate this one. as follows. Here the HTTP is having 80, FTP is having the port number 20, like that. And the next function we are going to cover is get service by port. It will returns get internet service which corresponds to port and protocol. That means we are going to give port and protocol number. It will returns the service name. Next function is IP to long. Converts a string containing an IPv4 Internet Protocol dotted address into a proper address. This function accepts IP address and returns the long equivalent value of the IP address. If it does not represent anything, it returns a negative minus value, negative 1 value. We can demonstrate this one as follows. In this program, we gave the same example as www.microsoft.com. After converting it into IP to long notation, directly if it does not represent anything, it will returns -1. That is, it is an invalid IP. Otherwise, we will print the IP address as follows. In order to print the IP address, we have to represent it in the unsigned notation form as %u. So we are getting the IP address. This is the for this IP address we are going to get the long equivalent value. First we get the negative value because directly it gives a negative value, so we have to represent it in the form of unsigned notation. The next function and last function is long to IP. It converts an internet network address into a string in internet standard dotted form. That means if we give the long form of the IP address, it will return the IP address. The function long to IP generates an internet address in dotted form from the proper address representation. It is demonstrated as follows. In this program, we gave the IP address and we convert it into the long form. After converting it to the long form, we again reconvert it into long to IP address. If it gives a negative value, we will subtract it from 2 power 32, then we will get the correct exact value of IP address. You can see the output as follows. And that's all about networking functions.